What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the vlog. Today we are starting our day in the car. I want to say this is going to be relatively easy, but we'll have to see as we go. There's a couple pieces I want to take out of the car because that is what Alex and I are going to be working on this weekend. Alex will pretty much touch base with us on Sunday, and we'll be able to start working on these couple pieces. So, yeah, it's gonna be a really interesting weekend, and hopefully everything works out great. So let's go over what exactly we're taking out of the car today. All right, everybody. So we're gonna be taking out a couple of the trim pieces today. We're gonna be taking out this piece right here. We're gonna have to see if we can remove these buttons. I know these two can come out, but we'll have to see what we can do for this piece right here. This trim piece right here is also gonna have to come out. I believe that this piece and this piece can come out of this bezel, so we'll have to remove that, and also this piece right here. There is a couple other silver accents that I'm going to be touching in the future, like these two pieces here, all the trim around the wheel, this piece right here. It is coming in the works, but Alex and I wanted to be able to at least get this stuff done because that is significant or easy to do, and the ability to be able to get it in and out of the car versus taking off the steering wheel to be able to access these pieces, where this is going to take a little more stuff to figure out and make sure they go back with the buttons and everything. So let's take out this one first, and we'll go from there. Alright, everybody, so I was able to pop out this panel. You just use this little pry tool to pop it out, and I realized that now we're going to have to try to remove this stuff from the car so we can at least remove this. I am going to have to reconnect everything because I'm going to have to drive the car tomorrow, but at least we'll be able to pop this stuff off. We're going to disconnect the battery and come back to that one. I'm going to assume that we're going to have to disconnect the battery for this as well, so let me disconnect the battery, and then we'll be able to pop this stuff out as well. Alright, so now that the battery is disconnected, we just got to remove these two adapters from this, and then we'll be able to pop out these buttons. Right, so I was able to get the two pieces out. So in this piece, so the piece with just the mirrors, there is two clips on both sides, and you have to push them in and pull them out of the front of this. Same thing goes with the fog light button. You have to push on the two clips, top and bottom, and push it out. You have to make sure they're disconnected from the wire, because if you don't, well, you won't be able to do anything with it. So those are there. I'm not going too far tomorrow, so just having them kind of hang here out of my way, whatever. Let's take this piece out. Alright, so I was able to pop it out. It's out. It's nice. Let's take this trim off right here, and hopefully this should come out relatively easy. Yep, just look at that. Nice, easy, came out. Look at that. Another trim piece out. Alright, so that's all the trim pieces that we're going to need. I still had to remove the little the airbag sensor and the time, the clock. So we're going to go remove that inside the house because I don't know what I'm going to need, and it's just better to have everything I need when trying to pull stuff out like that. All the other clips, they're not even in there with like a weird, they're in like with this weird adjustable clip. They just pull out, and it's that easy. Let's go inside. I'm gonna leave the car with the battery disconnected so I can at least come back and reconnect the clock and everything. Alright, everybody, so we're downstairs in the basement. I still have a lot of stuff to clean up. I'm gonna clean up this entire area because there's a lot of stuff to do this weekend. But let's try to tackle taking out the clock and the airbag indicator, and also this button right here. It looks like it should be simple, but again, nothing is ever simple, is it? Alright, so here's what I ended up doing. I ended up pushing up right here when I was using the prying tool, and then what I was doing is I was pushing, as I was kind of like putting tension on this piece right here, I went down to where the clip was and pushed it, and this one let go, and then I came over here and did this one and it let go. They're actually staggered in a way that they're just right, that when you push up on it, you'll be able to push up on this one, and you'll be able to touch this one, and when you go for this one, because this one's farther back, you'll be able to kind of go back and forth. So my suggestion is start on the side pieces, probably this side, because obviously this side is a button. push up on these and kind of work your way across until you're able to get it out. Alright guys, so we have all of the trim out of the car. We have the piece that goes up and over the glove box, so that's this piece right here. Might be an interesting piece to do the carbon fiber piece with. We do have to make sure we don't cover up the edges. There is a little bit of a little thing that comes out. So we have this piece as well. This is going to be an interesting piece because of how all of the open pieces right here. We might put some type of tape on all of the clips that lock it into the car, just because I don't know how the epoxy is going to work with that being there, simply because I don't want them to get stuck. So just having something to tape over it, that might be a good thing to have. Just regular painter's tape, I would say it would do. And then obviously the last piece we have for the trim is this piece right here. This is going to be a very interesting piece because of all the different textures of layers. We're going to have to sand down the texture that this part comes with. And that should be pretty cool. I don't think we'll need to get it exactly flat, but just enough to kind of allow the epoxy to sit on it properly. Other than that, I want to say that is it for the interior pieces. We do have a couple other pieces that I want to wrap today. I have a decent size piece of carbon fiber fabric, so we should be able to get a decent chunk of things done. So let me go grab those other pieces and we'll show you us what we are working with this weekend. Alright, so the next piece that we're going to be doing is the eyelids. I ordered these eyelids. These are from King Fiber. These are King Fiber eyelids. I am currently missing the driver's side. It's somewhere around here. When I set up this space, I kind of just toss everything everywhere. And I keep saying that I was going to clean it. I'm probably going to do that tonight. So we'll hopefully find that eyelid. I looked quickly, couldn't find it. But that's what we're going to do. It's going to be nice. It's going to bring the carbon fiber in a little bit and also down from the top of where the hood's going to rest. So I think that'll be a nice little touch to extend the carbon fiber a little bit. And if it's too much, I could either do the color then be wrapping it, or we'll see what happens. But that is eyelids. The next piece that I want to do for the carbon fiber this weekend, or pieces, is going to be the rear spats. These are a little bit dirty because I took them off from the car. We're going to give them a nice cleaning, get it nice, and we're going to say bye to the silver because we're going to be doing this in the carbon overlay along with the rest of the kit. One thing I do want to show you guys is the extensions I'm going to be adding to the bumper. They are not going to be carbon fiber, but just to kind of give you guys an idea of what it's going to look like, it's going to look like this. It does bring down the rear of the car ever so slightly. I'll put a picture of one that's already on a car already. It's a nice touch. I haven't decided on how I'm going to mount it to the car. Kind of leaning towards the whole molded piece to bring it down, simply because it's really held down by like 2 screws, and they're probably in the only locations that you could do it without it being like so blatant that it's a separate piece. So it might just be something that we consider doing a molded fashion and getting the entire bumper repainted. It's just might be something that I do in the future. Again, haven't really fully decided on it yet. Alright guys, so we have a lot of stuff to do this weekend, not a whole lot of time. It is Thursday. We have until pretty much Sunday afternoon. Alex is going to come over and help us sand. We are going to be doing another layer after the 120 and 240 grit. My understanding is it's just better to do it that way because then when you do the final or the buffing and the wet sanding, it's easier to hide the scratches and also get that nice clean look. And that's after the 3-layer epoxy. So I'll bring you guys along with all of that stuff, and then we'll meet up with Alex on Sunday and go from there. Talk to you guys tomorrow when we do some sanding and lay down our first pieces of carbon fiber in 2022. Alright everybody, so we are officially down here and we're just going to start the weekend off right with some carbon fiber work. I cleaned off this area back here. It's not perfect, but it's going to have to do for this weekend, and as we go on, things will start to kind of find a place and be nice and clean. So what we need to work on now is getting the eyelids. I was able to find the other one after cleaning up. It was actually just buried underneath something. It's just now we need to figure out, this one is squared, this one is rounded. We want to make sure that they are both the same and they both look good up against the headlights. So I'm going to go outside and I will be back with you guys momentarily for this. Alright everybody, so those eyelids came out pretty good, I would say. We had to touch up the driver's side more than the passenger side. The driver's side was more of a squared off. It kind of looks like it wasn't finished all the way from the manufacturer. It happens, whatever. They're never perfect. You always have to touch them up afterwards anyway. So that wasn't too bad. I'll let you guys be the judge of whether or not they came out good. I say they do, and I hope you guys do agree as well. Now it is time to get ready, or all of the pieces ready, for carbon fiber work. Simply because this is a textured piece, the lip kit itself is a very smooth piece, and even the eyelids themselves are very smooth, so we're going to scuff them up a little bit and get them ready to have the base layer of epoxy put on there. But once we get these nice and sanded, we're going to have to measure out all of the pieces that we're going to need for the carbon fiber. It's going to be a little bit interesting with weird pieces like this, so we're going to have to make sure we get it in exactly the way exactly the place that we want it. So I'm going to sand this stuff down. I'll talk to you guys in a little bit once it's all sanded. Talk to you guys later. Alright everybody, so I have everything sanded down behind me, the rear spats, the eyelids, and the rest of the interior trim pieces, and I have this roll of carbon fiber. It's just 2x2 weave, 3K, 2x2 weave. We have to wipe down all of the pieces with some mineral spirits, and that's just to kind of get rid of some of the dust and everything like that. And then we'll be able to arrange the tables in a way where we can roll this stuff out and kind of lay some pieces on it. We're going to use some tape to confirm how much carbon fiber material we need for each of the pieces, and we'll cut them out and lay them with the piece that we're going to be using it with. This is going to take a little bit of time. There's no great way for me to show you guys on how to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it, and then I'll show you the sizes and kind of what I did with the tape and everything like that. So bear with me. I'm going to figure this stuff out. I have to wipe down all of this stuff and set the tables up to do so. All right? Talk to you guys in a little bit. All right, so you guys can see kind of that we have the blue tape kind of squaring out the pieces that we're going to need. I tried to keep the fabric in a way so that when I lay down the piece, the weave should only be in one direction. The tape should help out when cutting the pieces to keep the fabric that's on the edges, like the fringe, from separating. This side is woven or sewn together, I guess, during the weaving process. And this piece right here, the start of it, is actually taped, I would assume, to do the same concept that what the blue tape is. So yeah, we have a couple pieces laid out, one eyelid, 2 pieces of the trim. I might use this for maybe a button or something. We'll figure it out when we get there. Nothing will go to waste from this, at least that's the game plan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these pieces out, do the rest of them, and then we'll kind of touch base once I have everything cut out and all the pieces of carbon fiber laid out for everything we're going to be doing. Alright everybody, so I was able to cut out all of the pieces for the carbon fiber. It's funny because these pieces do look small for how big this piece is, but I kind of feel like I measured it out properly with adjusting for all the different angles of the pieces. If for some reason they aren't, good thing is these pieces go, half of this piece goes underneath the car, so you theoretically won't see it anyway, but it would be pretty cool to just kind of have it fill in there. As for the trim pieces, I believe I'm going to end up doing the black epoxy, simply because, yes, this is way darker than how they came out stock. They definitely still have a little bit of a silver tint to them, and I think the black epoxy is definitely going to be something that I'm going to do. And the black epoxy, what I mean by that is the base layer of the epoxy, the one that goes below the carbon fiber fabric. That's going to be a black epoxy. The silver pieces, 100% are getting black epoxy. I think the trim pieces as well, they're going to get those as well. They're going to get the black epoxy. As for the eyelids, they are black and completely black underneath. I'm going to say that we're probably not going to waste the black epoxy on those. So yeah. Anyway, let's get a couple pieces. We have to prop them up on a couple things, and we'll be able to start laying down some epoxy, mixing and laying down some epoxy. Alright everybody, so I mixed the black epoxy. It's time to start laying this stuff down. I'm going to use a 2-inch foam brush on most of the pieces, and then a 1-inch foam brush on some of the smaller areas and pieces. I probably mix maybe too much epoxy, but I'd rather have a little bit more than run out in the middle of laying it down. So I'm going to lay this down and touch base with you guys once all the black epoxy's down. My hair isn't proof enough of how this is going. It's a little bit crazy. Alright, so here's my issues so far. The pieces that I'm doing, these are still very, I would consider probably advanced, moderate to advanced pieces. So me doing them, I don't know the best way to do things, and I don't know if this is gonna work, and this and that. So I've done everything that I can do to try to get the carbon to sit where I want it on the pieces. I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of areas that I'm going to absolutely hate, and I'm going to want to throw it away. The other option would be to completely sand it all the way down, back down to the plastic, and start fresh, which is definitely a good chance that I'll probably end up doing. But yeah, so this is a little bit frustrating. I'm going to give it a little bit. I'm probably going to use the heat gun a little bit so I can at least try to get this last, or the coating for the overnight, in the hopes that maybe that will help solidify the areas that I'm having issues with. It's mainly areas that there is very little grab for the carbon, for like the epoxy, where the carbon, it's like very like, and also where the carbon kind of goes off down to the side, and it's like a 90-degree turn down to the side. Well, that's the other area that I'm frustrated with. So I'm going to use the heat gun. Maybe the heat gun will allow me to kind of speed up the process of the base layer and the carbon layer, in the hopes that I can start the last layer of epoxy for tonight and go from there. So I will touch base with you guys tomorrow. Alright, everybody, so it's been overnight. So a couple of the areas on the carbon fiber pieces, they did not stick to the pieces, whether it wasn't enough epoxy or so be it. It's just maybe the way the weave sat. So what I'm going to end up doing today is I'm going to mix a small batch of epoxy and try to use the small batch of epoxy to try to help bring the weave in. And the other thing that might also help out is as we're putting down some of the epoxy, we'll be able to lay down the top layer of epoxy as well, and that should help mold the pieces down. We have to do some trimming on with the scissors to try to knock off some of this stuff. Hopefully the scissors will work. If not, I do have a cutting tool for the Dremel, which I could just use that. Might make things a little bit quicker if I did it that way. But that's the game plan for today. I'm going to see if that works out, and I will touch base with you guys once this is all set and everything else. Alright, so now it's just time to wait. I don't know where exactly I messed up. Maybe I put down the epoxy too quickly yesterday, or I put the carbon down too quickly yesterday, especially with all the temperature changes and everything like that. I'm hoping that these pieces are salvageable. I'm going to try to stay optimistic about these pieces, but at the same time, there's a very good chance that they're just kind of be write-offs at this point. So I mixed up some epoxy, put in the areas that I needed it to be able to stick the carbon back down, and we're going to give those some time to cure, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that once it is tacky enough that these pieces will be able to mesh together and fit properly. If not, not really sure. I'm gonna have to think about it, and we'll go from there. But we're gonna try to stay optimistic until then. All the trim pieces, the interior trim pieces, need to be redone. I kind of called that one. It just wasn't. They weren't able to mold to the edges properly. Mainly my fault. more than likely my fault. It could also be that it's just a tough piece, and I have no idea what I'm doing. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to let those completely harden. Once they are hard, I'm going to sand them down and get them ready to put up another layer piece of carbon. I should have enough to do at least those 3 pieces. I stopped at those 3 pieces because if I wasn't sure if I was going to have enough to do everything all over again. Honorable mentions, the lip kit itself, because of the weird edge on the inside of the lip kit, I'm going to have to redo that. And it's just going to have to be something. I'm going to try to figure out a solution for that. I don't want to completely throw away these pieces. One piece looks fine to the naked eye. It looks pretty fine. It's just this little section of the piece right here, which is, unfortunately, it's the outside edge, and that's why it's kind of bothering me. I might try to cut this off and use a piece of carbon to kind of cover the side. I'm not entirely sure yet, but I'm going to have to think about it. The other one, I'm completely missing carbon in a certain area because it didn't stick, so I cut it off. There's a little section right here. It's just this weird edge right here because it goes from here to here to here, and then it just, realistically, I shouldn't have had this piece here. It should have been back here, but I didn't know. As I was laying it down, I wasn't thinking. So there's that. Again, gonna let that completely harden, cut off those edges, and see if I can lay down a piece of carbon on the end, and that might be a fix temporarily. Or the other option would be to not worry about it and paint that black, because technically that should be in the wheel well, and I might be able to just kind of get away with taping everything up once the carbon is done and laying down just a black, flat black piece. That might help me, because it's a weird area on both sides of the car, and thankfully they should be in the wheel well anyway. And the other thing is too, the paint. I won't be sad about the paint getting rock chips versus the carbon, so that's the other thing. The eyelids. One eyelid, it's not sticking in one area. I might cut off the carbon there and try to do it again. Not sure. I'm hoping to be able to save it. It looks like it's sticking from over here, but I don't know. I'll have to give it a little bit and see what happens. Again, still not the tackiest piece, so I'm not entirely sure either. But other than that, so what's the game plan? So the game plan is to, now that all of the trim pieces have the epoxy taken off of it, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to let this set of epoxy completely block up, and then we're going to do is a nice sanding on it, and that's going to be in the next video. Sorry we're kind of ending the video this way. I was not expecting this issue to arise, but I think I know where my issue started, and hopefully on the next video, the next go around, we won't have that issue. At least that's the goal. So we're going to end this video here. In the next video, we're going to continue to be working on these pieces, the trim pieces, the lip kit, and the eyelids, and we're going to try to get all this stuff figured out. Alex should be joining us in the next video as well, and he might be able to give me an idea of, a little bit of help trying to figure this stuff out, and just 2 brains better than 1 kind of thing. Sorry, this video didn't end up in a great fashion. I was hoping to be able to put my trim back together in this video, but things just don't work out sometimes, and I'd rather do everything properly and then instead of just half it. So, thank you guys for watching. If you guys have any recommendations for me, please let me know in the comments below, and I will try to, I don't know. I'll try to make it work. Thank you guys for watching. Catch you guys in the next video.